I'm Brian McNamee on behalf of the Sustainable Energy Authority of Ireland. And as I say, this is the final webinar in the Reduce Your Use series for this year. So we'll let you get on with your end of year work after this. And it's basically introducing the Register of Energy Management Measures. And I'll just go through some basic housekeeping. People are on mute and with cameras off. And if you want to put in any questions, please put them into the chat. And we'll answer those at the end. The session will be recorded and that'll be made available afterwards for viewing on the SEAI channel, basically. So this is the Register of Energy Management Opportunities, which is essentially a framework for improvements in energy and carbon management for smaller and not so small office buildings. Well, it was basically originally developed for smaller offices, but the majority of the no-cost and low-cost measures that are identified in the register should be relevant to all organizations, and you should really be doing them already or already have done them. And really many of those no and low cost measures are basic and represent really essentially good housekeeping in the workplace as such. So as I say, it's for smaller organizations and also individual sites of larger organizations. So it's relevant to a lot of different types of organizations. Smaller organizations and then individual sites. So if you have a number of sites throughout your remit or whatever it is, then you can pass this register on to those individual sites to complete and keep it updated. And you can also run maybe an internal program for those multiple sites if you have a number of sites in your portfolio. So basically, it's a workbook in Excel of energy management measures, a register of energy management measures, and it covers no cost and low cost, medium cost, and investment opportunities as such. And then it divides those into different categories: management, operational, behavioral, and technical. So the technical will be the classic ones, really: heating, lighting, small power, and then there is a section on energy management as well, and then other technologies and services. So for each opportunity, each measure, you can set your own status, and I'll go through that shortly. Points are also awarded for each measure within the spreadsheet, so you can use that as an ongoing sort of monitor and check your progress on an ongoing basis. In that way, you will be sort of self-evaluating your application of the measures as such. And as I say, you can set this up as an internal sort of register for different sites if you're in that sort of situation, and compare each different sites against each other as such. And it's also in line with the critical success factors. So I'm sure that many of you already have a register of opportunities as such. So I want you to, if you have a mobile phone handy, or else just go to that website at the top and scan in the QR code. And if you could let me know, do you already have a register of opportunities or similar in place? Okay. A lot of you have. A number of you have not. That's rising. Okay, so nearly 50-50. Yeah, okay. Okay, so we've got 10 basically say yes and 8 say no. Well, Well, that's not really a problem as such. So you can have your own register of opportunities and still use this energy management measures as well. And if you haven't got your register of opportunities, then this is a good opportunity basically to get something ready-made, or a ready-made checklist which identifies opportunities. And this is what it is basically. I'll just click in through to the actual spreadsheet, starting off with heating. So we've got heating opportunities, measures, and down along the bottom here, the different tabs: hot water, fabric, lighting, small power, water, ventilation, catering, transport, etc. So just looking at the structure of the spreadsheet, what's in it. So in this column here, we have the opportunity, or the measure basically. So, and they're divided into no and low cost measures, which in the green, then the yellow, medium cost, and then higher cost opportunities or measures down at the bottom basically. So then we have essentially an indicative level of savings from each measure, so that in this column D here, we have small, medium, and greater savings level as we go into areas that are, that we spend more money on basically, so medium, large, or whatever it is. And then we have the budget costs, as I said, the no, low, the medium, and the high. And then the technical category, or the category basically: technical, operational, behavioral, management, etc.
I think we're still seeing the presentation, not
yeah,
not the Excel.
Mm.
Just
hold on a second. Yeah, sorry. Hold on a second. Still just seeing the presentation. What have we got now?
it's still a slide.
Okay, just hold on. Right. Okay, I'll just have to go on to this.
Now we can see the
manual. Oh, no, well, this is
the manual. Yeah.
This is not the live spreadsheet, which was linked in, so that obviously doesn't seem to be working. So we'll have to go back to the sort of manual approach now. So looking at lighting, really, as I say, we have the opportunities here basically down along the left, and then we have basically the different categories, whether the level of savings, whether it's medium, small, medium, etc., higher level, as well as we go into more investment level opportunities as such. And then the budget cost, which is the no, low, the medium, and the higher. This isn't coming out on the actual manual one here, but further down we can find the different more investment level opportunities. And then we have the different categories basically for each measure, whether it's technical, whether it's operational, whether it's people or management. So then we can assign basically a target date for implementing that message. And then critically here, we can assign whether our status basically in relation to the measure. First of all, whether the measure is relevant to us or not, so that we can select that status as maybe being not relevant. So not all measures are going to be relevant to everybody. So we can select our measure there of not relevant. And then the other levels of status, whether it's completed, ongoing, planned, or whatever it is. So then we can identify where we are in terms of the status of implementing the actual measure. And each measure has a number of points associated with it as well. And then we get a score basically when the measure is completed and implemented, or if it's ongoing or whatever it is, then we get a score. So that's useful for comparing the implementation of the measures. And maybe if we have different sites, then we can compare different sites in terms of their implementation of the overall number of measures, etc., on energy management, on heating. So as I said earlier, this one, because the actual live spreadsheet function doesn't seem to be working, so we just have to stick with the manual one here. So down here at the bottom, we have different worksheets, one on energy management, one on heating, one on water, fabric, lighting, small power, water use in general, ventilation, catering, travel. So for each of those areas, then we have this list of measures as such, and then the different sort of status categories, cost levels, etc., for each of the measures. Okay, so, and then when we go about implementing our measures, basically there is a dashboard tab as well, so that it shows us our overall implementation of all the measures, whether they are completed, ongoing, planned, or maybe not relevant even as well. So then for energy management, the same layout there, basically the same result. What is our current level or current status on implementing energy management measures, on implementing heating measures, domestic hot water, fabric lighting, small power, etc. And then we can also classify our implementation according to the different categories. For example, how many operational measures have we implemented? How many people or behavioral related measures have we implemented? And how many technical, what is the status of the technical measures? Also in terms of cost, high, medium or low cost measures, how are we doing on those in terms of implementation, and also in relation to the estimated savings for each measure, basically, or a status on the implementation of the savings. So that really summarizes the spreadsheet as such. So unfortunately, as I say, the live spreadsheet function wasn't working. So essentially, this is the sort of crux of it here, the workbook, the worksheet here, which identifies the measures and then provides you with the different sort of categories and indicative levels of where we are and the opportunities and our status, etc. So basically also, some of the measures there, you'll be familiar with them. They're, a lot of them are good housekeeping, but one of the ones which is of particularly interest at the moment is this issue of space optimization, and that is something that we're looking at the moment in SEAI. And I'm just wondering if you could just again scan in this code. Do you optimize space according to the levels of occupancy? That is, if there are not many people in the office, do you cut off heating in certain areas and that sort of thing, or is it maybe all the heating is on, all the lighting is on, even though there isn't that many people in the office? So, do you optimize space according to the levels of occupancy? Okay, most people know. Some people, yes. Okay. Again, that's one of the opportunities identified in the spreadsheet. So, okay, so most people not doing that at the moment. That's interesting. So really, to summarize, the spreadsheet, basically the register of measures as such, is for smaller organizations and also for individual sites of larger organizations. So if you have multiple sites, then you can run an internal program using this register and compare the different sites basically together. So the majority of the measures are no and low cost measures. And all organizations should really be doing these already, or should already have done them. And then there are the medium cost and then the higher cost measures as well. And as I say, many of the no and low cost measures are really basic actions as such. They're essentially good housekeeping in the workplace. And, if you have a register of opportunities yourself, some of these measures may be on your RU already, particularly the investment measures, but certainly maybe the no and low cost measures are not on your register of opportunities. So that really covers the spreadsheet, and a pilot was carried out basically earlier this year with education centres in Ireland, and that was carried out by Derek Hannick. And we have Derek here today basically, and I'm just going to really get some feedback from Derek in terms of how the pilot went with the education centres in throughout the country, or in a number of them throughout the country. So how many pilots did actually use the spreadsheet, the register, Derek?
Yeah. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, so it was decided to roll out with the education centres last year as the pilot because they are essentially small organisations. They'd be typically under 5,000 square feet or in and around that anyway, and maybe with 8 to 10 employees or a few, somewhat more, somewhat less. But so they were a perfect example of that sort of sector, you could say. It was rolled out with. We piloted it in detail with I suppose myself facilitating going through the spreadsheets with about 6 of them, and then we rolled it out then for self-service then with the remaining ones up to 21 up to 21 in total there, and yeah, the feedback was very positive. My I suppose observation then with them and getting the feedback from the education centres was it was many businesses, or many people working in business, they're not energy managers or energy experts, but yet they're responsible for looking at energy within their businesses and departments and stuff like that. So it was a great starting point, basically of where to start. As Brendan pointed, or Brian pointed out there in the spreadsheet there, it's logical. It goes through all aspects of a building, and instead of starting with a blank sheet, it gave people questions or identified pre-populated opportunities, and then all that the business had to do was to basically select where they felt they were, or what ones were relevant to their business. So
Right.
very quickly, yeah, they had a register of opportunities, I suppose, removed all the not relevant ones and kept all the relevant ones. So it was very, very quickly to had something to
Right.
work off, basically.
So did they find it easy to use, or did you have to give much sort of explanation as such?
Yeah. No, they found it very easy to use because I suppose the logical structure of it, the questions are very well, they're obviously the questions or the opportunities that are there, they've come up multiple times for other businesses, so they were very logical to use. There is a good little instruction guide with it on the first worksheet to tell people how to use it, and it's a matter of sort of, I suppose, experimenting with it to all intents and purposes to come up with an evaluation of your own thing. So no, it was very easy to use, yeah.
And were they sort of more interested in the no and low cost measures, or the sort of investment? Obviously, it depends on their own situation anyway. But
yeah, there was the no and the low cost ones. I think what they found is because they can, I suppose, sort them out between the no cost and the low cost and the medium ones, they can very easily come up with a list of stuff, obviously, that's doesn't cost anything, so they can share that information then as better housekeeping with energy champions that they might have appointed and stuff like that, and people in within the different departments or different rooms, you could say, to work on. So that was very useful. Then as the maybe the ones that identified maybe a higher cost solution or whatever, they would be ones then that they could say, right, okay, we need to look at these in a bit more depth and maybe look at them from a budgeting perspective. So no, there was, I suppose, different audiences within the businesses and centres had different uses for it.
right. So did they sort of use it as a planning tool, or do you know, or
yeah, initially
future?
yes, definitely. Like the housekeeping stuff and the reduce your use campaign type things, all the no and the low cost ones they're very, very good for getting you started on that. Once you have those ones implemented, then you I suppose it gave a list of I suppose other things to look at in a bit more detail. But they were interested in them as well. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, thanks very much, Derek. Any other comments or not?
As an interaction tool, I found it myself being a PSM with the education as a way to engage with them. I found that quite useful. I found that it gave opportunities just for discussing energy and making it a topic. They shared it with some of their teams as well. So it's a very good communication opportunity across their organizations and stuff like that. And the fact that it is, it can be shared out, it can be given to different departments, given to different people in different rooms, and they can make use of it that way. So yeah, very good communication tool, and very good for identifying the low and the no cost opportunities to get done, and then also for identifying stuff that needs further thought, basically.
Okay, Derek, thanks very much.
I've got a question for you actually before we come on to what's in the chat. So in terms of communicating outside the energy team, it was all fairly self-evident, was it? People found it easy there wasn't any extra explanation needed, or was it fairly self-explanatory once you're sharing it to other parts of the organization?
Yeah, so if the answers, if the questions or the opportunities are evaluated openly and honestly, you can first of all, you disregard anything that's not relevant to your particular building or whatever. You can disregard them with those ones straight away, and then it left you with the relevant ones. And then depending on what team member, whether it's management, you're talking about budget or no cost, but even talking to maintenance and to those type of people where it says, listen, we need to put in some sort of housekeeping here weekly. It's very good for that, and it goes into a lot of detail about making sure the reduce your use stuff, making sure stuff is turned off, making sure even machines are utilized correctly and turned off when they not needed. All that very useful list of stuff to have, so it was good for that.
Brilliant.
Okay, so
in the chat, is it possible to get the spreadsheets? There's a few people asking for the spreadsheets.
Yes. Yeah, we'll send a copy out shortly. Yeah. To everybody.
And it'll, as Derek said, there's the front page has the guide to how to use it as well.
Yeah. And there's some useful links in it as well. It might be for further research or further information and stuff like that, that are very useful as well to have. So that's it.
Yeah, so we'll put it out on the Reduce Use Community of Practice, so probably early next week, I think, or possibly tomorrow. Any more questions in the chat? I can see they're mainly looking for the spreadsheet. I think everyone wants to have a play.
Yep, just the one that's on the Energy Link at the moment. That is a blank one there that's been referred to the Register of Opportunities. This is a separate one with a dashboard. So maybe we just include that in the title and people know which one they're going to download.
Yes, perfect. Thanks, Noel.
Okay.
Any more questions from in the chat there? So I don't think there's anyone else.
No,
so I think great. Well, thanks very much, Brian and Derek, for that. I think it'll be a very useful tool, especially to start with during the reduced use period, and then maybe, as you say, you might build on it and develop into bigger and better opportunities for next year as well. Okay, I think we'll call it to a close.
Okay.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Brian. See you, everyone. Bye-bye.